Hello, I'm Sarah Grady Ackerman. Mary Jane Ryals' writing is described as a feast for the senses. Her novel, Cookie and Me, is the 2010 Florida Book Awards bronze medalist for general fiction. It's a story of life during the turbulent 60s at the height of the civil rights struggle that transformed the South. And Mary Jane, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks a lot for having me.
To talk about Cookie and Me. You explained to me before that this has been about 17 years in the making, 17 years on, off and on. What does this honor mean to you?
Well, a lot. I have been a poet and a short story writer for years, and I worked on this novel for, it seemed like ever since my daughter was born, which was actually 18 years ago, to be accurate with myself. And yeah, I worked on it forever and didn't think of myself as a novelist, and then boom, I published it and it wins a prize. I mean, that was really, for me, I am speechless.
I was going to say,
I had never thought about myself as a novelist. I thought I was just a poet.
Well, it's getting, just praises from all angles, and people are embracing the main character of this book, the setting and the plot. Just kind of give us a rundown about what is Cookie and Me about. Okay.
There are two girls who are about 13. One lives one is white, and she lives in a kind of almost an old plantation house up on top of the hill, and then down the hill lives the house cleaner, Jessie, and Jessie's niece has come to live with her, Cookie. And Rayanne begins as in a dysfunctional family, and just with all kinds of ideas about race and about how she can categorize different kinds of white people and black people, and she just has these ridiculous ideas that she's gotten from her culture about what's right and what's wrong and who's who, and you can even tell by the towels who people are. So she learns very quickly that there are things that she has no idea about, that Cookie is a very bright young woman who she meets on the road, right down from the house, and that Cookie has big ambitions to go to Chicago to be a singer when her father gets out of prison. And
so she really destroys those stereotypes that Rayanne had.
Yes, totally, and little by little, because Cookie is a tough young woman, and she will say things to Rayanne. Rayanne will say something like, "Do colored people bruise?" And she says, "What do you think? We don't hurt like you do." So she really has to show her in humorous, tough ways that people are people are people.
And this is based in the 60s in Tallahassee. What inspired you to write this book?
Well, it was I had a great professor who's a dean at Florida State now, Ann Rowe, who taught Southern literature. And I had never really understood that really my literature was the Southern literature. And she let me realize that really my generation was the generation in which races were thrown together, and we had to figure it out, and we had to work it out. And I suddenly saw it as a real privilege that we were able to do this, even though it was messy. It was very messy, very difficult. And I make their relationship messy and difficult sometimes, but there's pure love in the relationship, deep love. And it is actually Cookie's family who helps Rayanne through the difficulties she has at home. And she learns how to love in a different way. She understands what it's like to have a family in which people don't have much means, but they have a whole lot of love, and that's what really matters when it comes down to it.
Right. It's such a touching story, and friendship, and honest and real.
Well, that's what I couldn't just get in there and say, we all need to be brothers and sisters. I had to make it very messy.
And so, what do you hope when the readers finish their final page and they close the book? What do you hope that they take away from Cookie and Me?
I hope that everybody, including myself, every time I think about the book and and I read parts of it, that we'll all remember that the surface is not everything, that there's so much deeper, there's so much more, and that we all have to stop and remember that and try to approach things with an open mind.
It's a wonderful message.
Thank you.
Well, again, Cookie and Me by Mary Jane Ryals. Thank you so much, Mary Jane, for being here, and congratulations again on your honor.
Thanks a lot.
Production of this program is made possible in part by a grant from the Florida Humanities Council. Additional support comes from the Florida State University Libraries.